Welcome to class. In this lesson, we'll be looking at microorganisms. So what is now the introduction to microorganism? Microorganism is derived from two words, micro and organism. Micro means very small and organism means living being. So when we combine these two words together, they form microorganism. So microorganism is the name given to living beings that cannot be seen with the eyes. So it is not possible to see microorganisms with our naked eye. Why? Because if we have 1 million microorganisms combined together, they cannot be seen with a naked eye because they are very tiny living organisms that only occupies a limited space except with the aid of microscope. Then what is now the definition of microorganisms? So microorganism can be defined as a single-celled organism, which can also be called unicellular organisms or multicellular organisms, which are invisible to the naked eye except taken individually with the aid of what? Microscope. So these microorganisms can be found in both plants and animals. Now take for instance, we take a brief sample of soil, and the soil was observed under microscope. So we could observe that there are some tiny organisms. These are called microorganisms or microbes. So these microorganisms can be found everywhere, either in the air, in the water, in the soil, in animals. So we have various types or groups of microorganisms. We have the bacteria, we have the fungi, we have the protozoa, we have the algae, and we have the virus. So what are the bacteria? They are microorganisms that can easily be seen with light microscope. That is, they occur in clusters or colony. So that is the aspect of the bacteria. So the bacteria, we have various shapes of bacteria. So we have different type of bacteria. We have one that based on their use of oxygen. We have the aerobic, we have the anaerobic, we have the facultative. And based on shape, we have the cocci, we have the bacilli, we have the vibrio, and we have the spirali. Then we also have the fungi. So in the aspect of fungi, they are saprophytic or they are parasitic and they are non-green plants. We also have the protozoans, which are the microorganisms which are microscopic and free living, just like paramecium. And then we have the algae, which are also microscopic green plants, which are majorly found in aquatic environments. So the bacteria, the algae, and the protozoan, they are all regarded as what? The single-celled microorganisms. While the fungi, they are regarded as what? And some algae, they are regarded as the multicellular microorganism. Then we also have the virus, which is another group of microorganisms. So they are tiny living organisms which can only be seen with what? With electron microscope, unlike in bacteria, which can be seen with what? With light microscope. But in the case of virus, they can be seen with what? Electron microscope. So under that virus can be found what? Everywhere, both in plants and animals. So and when they are found in the body of living things, they are regarded as what? Living things. Then we now move on to another concept, which is the concept of culturing. So what do we understand by culturing? So it involves the techniques of growing microorganisms in special media in the laboratory. So it involves the making of sterile medium. Are you getting it now? Inoculating, incubating, and examining microorganisms. So in other way around, we can say that culturing is the artificial growing or production of microorganisms. So, and this growth of microorganisms are done in the laboratory. So that is why it is said to be what? The growing of microorganisms in special media. So it's not just done anyhow, it is done in what? In a special media in the laboratory. Now, what are now the instruments required for what? For culturing? We need the petri dish, we need our inoculating loop, we need our agar jelly. So all these, they are required in what? In culturing. We also need our microscope, we need slides, we need hand lens, we need inoculating needles. So this picture is now explaining the what? The culturing of a microorganism. Out, out together. Then we now move on to carriers of microorganisms. So what do I say by carriers of microorganisms? They are agents which are capable of transferring or carrying microorganisms from one place to another. So they are agents. So they help in carrying microorganisms from one place to another. So non-living agent that carry microorganisms from one place to another can be air, can be water, and can be food. And the living agents are generally called vectors. So animals that carry pathogenic organisms are known as vectors. All together. So, and these carriers, they are not the one that cause disease, which are referred to as what? As pathogens. Then let's talk about various carriers of microorganisms. The first one we have there is housefly. So the housefly, it causes disease of what? Of cholera or typhoid. So that's one. So which is what? The cholera. The second one is mosquitoes. In the aspect of mosquito, we have two types of mosquito here. We have the female Aedes mosquito and we have the female Anopheles mosquito. So the female Aedes mosquito cause yellow fever and dengue fever, while the female Anopheles mosquito cause malaria fever. So that is why when one is bitten by a female Anopheles mosquito, it results into what? Malaria. And then we also have the tsetse fly. So the tsetse fly, it causes sleeping sickness. So when one is being bitten by tsetse fly, it results into what? Sleeping sickness. So another vector or carrier is rat fleas. So this rat flea, it causes plague. Then we also have body louse. So we have different louse in the body. We have the head louse, we have the body louse, and we have the pubic louse. So we have in this body louse, it causes itches, it causes infections to what? To the skin. If the skin is affected, just like the picture that we have here. So this picture is showing a man that has been infected with what? With body louse. So this is now showing that microorganisms, they are very dangerous to the health of human. Then we talk about ways through which microorganism enters the body. So what are the various ways by which microorganisms can enter into our body? Remember, it was said that microorganisms are found everywhere. Altogether, they are found everywhere. So what are the ways through which they can enter into the body? We have the eyes, we have the nose, we have the genitals, we have the skin, we have the ear, we have the mouth, and we have cuts. So the cut can also be regarded as what? Wounds on the skin. So these are ways through which microorganisms can enter our body. So now let's take a look at them one after the other. In the case of the mouth, we talk about what? Sneezing, either through the nose or through the mouth. So when we sneeze, so particular amount of what of microorganisms are being released to the what to the atmosphere. So that is why in the aspect of sneezing, we must what ensure to cover our nose and our mouth. And also in the aspect of dirty nails. So that is why we must avoid cutting our fingernails with our teeth. Rather, we should ensure that we get a nail cutter or a razor. Why? Because in dirty nails, it has taken in some particular amount of microorganisms. Now, when we cut the nails with our teeth, that means we are ingesting or we are taking in these microorganisms, which are very harmful to our health. Are we together now? So that means we must keep our nail clean as much as possible. Then we also talk about wounded skin. In this aspect of wounded skin, it talks about when we have bruise or cuts on our skin. It can bring about the passage of microorganisms into the skin. So that is why when we have cut, ensure that it is properly treated. Then we have animal bites. We have the dog bite, we have tsetse fly bite, mosquito bite, rat flea bite, louse bite. So when we have bite from animals, it can result into what? The transfer of this microorganism to what? Into the body of living organisms. So that's why we must avoid animal bite. Example, dog bite, mosquito bite, and also we now talk about sexual contact. So in this aspect of sexual contact, that's through what? Through the genitals. So we must avoid what? Sexual contact with people without what? Whom are affected or whom are infected with what? With microorganism. Why? Because it can result into what? Into transfer of microorganism from an infected person to an uninfected person. So through this sexual contact, there is always a what? A transfer of blood. And when there is transfer of blood, there is always a what? A transfer of microorganism from an infected person to a non-infected person. I hope you've learned a lot from this lesson on microorganisms around us. Thank you for listening, and do not hesitate to ask questions. See you in our next class. Bye for now.